This is my van. It's a van that I had a vision for this van a long time ago, before my kids were born. So I've actually had this for 10 years now, and the whole plan was to start a company to help us do what we love to do, which is go out and have a lot of fun with vehicles, whether it's camping or kayaking, bicycling, whatever. That's what Agency 6 is all about. But this van is actually really near and dear to me because I met a lot of really cool people along the way. It took me 6 years to afford the whole conversion, and one of the coolest van conversion folks I've ever met, his name is Chris. He owns U-Joint Offroad in North Carolina. Super helpful guy. So it's 2006 E-350. It's a TurboDiesel. It's a 6-liter. Yes, it had all the problems. Yes, it's been gone through. And I went with an 8-inch lift on it. When I bought it, it was a windowed transporter. So it had no interior, it had a rubber mat, and I drove it like that without interior for 10 years. So this is what you're about to see is literally like 5 days old. So it's got a Warren 10,000 winch up front, U-Joint Offroad conversion. Of course, it has our fair lead. It has our winch pulls. It has a lot of the Agency 6 product, but Fox shocks. It has some Lightforce LEDs up on top. Since not too many people make van stuff, a lot of it has to be custom made. So the exhaust I had to custom make. I had to custom make a downpipe off of a donor truck, an aftermarket exhaust from an F-350. Made some sway bar links for it. Other than the sway bar links, this entire suspension is the U-Joint Offroad 8-inch lift package. In addition to that, the guys at WFO Concepts in Auburn, California, they did the install. Trevor was a really nice guy, good friend of mine. Not only did he install the whole suspension, but also the ARB lockers front and rear, dual compressors underneath. It also has a U-Joint Offroad extended gas tank. The vans came with a thin, long tank, which didn't allow for the NV271 transfer case. So it's either you cut it or you buy an aftermarket one, and U-Joint makes all that. I have an aluminum tire carrier, which is probably one of the first versions of it because it hits my door all the time. It's a really, really fun rig. We really built it for the snow. We own some property just past Donner, and it gets a lot of snow, sometimes up to 10 feet, and that's really what it's for. I've gotten some pretty hairy situations before, but it's just a ton of fun. It makes it out every time with the help of some friends. So welcome inside. This is the interior. I'm a big fan of keeping things clean and open, minimalistic, but obviously everything has to work. So we have a GoPower solar system on this, 2 190 watt panels up on the roof that are mounted to the U-Joint Offroad roof rack. A 3,000 watt inverter from GoPower. And right now it's powering the refrigerator. The inverter also has, we have 110 in here. We have a TV also running off of the 12 volt system. And because nobody makes parts for the vans necessarily exactly the way you want them, I'm an inventor and fabricator, so I fabricated my own sink. I fabricated all the mounts. I actually floated the refrigerator off the floor because I don't like things to be on the floor. Plus, it creates more air circulation for the cooling system. These seats come off of a Toyota Sienna. I believe it's 13 through 17, but don't quote me on that. But what's cool about these, I'll show you, is that and they pop out. So I got 2 kids, both girls, and when we go snowboarding or we go to the cabin, we go camping or whatever, after a long day, they're conked out on this. These are really cool because they have their own armchair, their own arms. They also have a seatbelt built into it, so you can really mount these anywhere you want. And if you're crafty, what I did here is I actually fabricated the mounting for this so that they actually function the same way as they would on a Toyota. So I can just pop them off. If I want to keep the rack in here, I can. If I want to keep it slick, you unbolt the 4 bolts off the rack, and there's carpeted plugs so that the floor is totally flat. Because space is limited. This back seat, I'll move aside so you can come over and check it out. But my friend Kenny, who has an upholstery shop, he upholstered the back so that it matched the same stitching as the Sienna seats. And that folds into a bed that is actually 6 feet 1 inch wide. I'm 6'2", so it's perfect. I still have some space for my hands and my feet to hang over, 1 inch. And I'm a big fan of jets, so I wanted the ceiling to look like a jet. So for traveling back, when you're traveling and somebody wants to use their own lights, I ran these, I ganged them all up for the dome light, or on the dome light circuit, but they also run independent of each other. So if you wanted a reading light, you can actually utilize that, or if you wanted it to be on the dome, or if you wanted it off, they are all wired that way, which is it's actually pretty convenient. They are LEDs, so they last quite a long time. This is the inverter charger remote from Go Power, and the Switch Pro's 8 options switch package. This is going to be, this is already wired. I just haven't put the stickers on yet because we might change something from running off the van batteries versus the solar. But that controls the inverter that Go Power has given us back there, which I'll show you in a little bit. Over here by this passenger seat, we have the Go Power solar controller, and that tells you basically what's going on, how the panels are working, what the battery life is like, how charged they are, or how they're working. It's got a little USB plug too. So I fabricated my own ladder because I wanted it wider, and on the opposite side, this ladder is going to end up going around the wheel well, so that I can actually work on helping move the kayak and do stuff like that up on the roof. These are 37-inch Toyo MTs, open country, on some method bridge wheels. I try to use all the open spaces in the vehicle, so I just basically sound deaden the back of the skin. I put some carpet in it. I store some extra rope. This is my shore power adapter for the solar system. Because space is limited. I love the thought of the batteries and the solar system, but I didn't want to compromise any space. And since I have a tire carrier, I didn't need the tire that was underneath this, so I chopped the rail, chopped the floor, fabricated the steel frame box. The whole box is steel. It's actually it's all 1/8 inch, so it's actually really heavy, but it keeps everything from it helps support the body as well. This is really heavy. There's 2, I believe they're about 60 pounds a piece, give or take. I'm going to switch those to lithium irons, but this is the Go Power system that we've been working on. If some of you guys have seen us on Instagram at agency_6, you can see some of the build stuff. I also tell people how we've upholstered things and how to do things the right way. Over here, if you can sneak over to this box, I have a cooling fan. Well, first of all, this is this is right now set at 30 amps, but this is a 40 amp capable power box, which is about half of a house. You can plug into shore power with that adapter. This is the Go Power battery monitor, which is hooked up to a Bluetooth unit. So now I can, use everything, check everything out on my phone. Go Power makes a ton of really cool. Of course, some stuff is super extreme and very expensive, but their stuff is so awesome. Every budget, every person that wants some solar, Go Power is really, really awesome. This bed frame I modified it, but this came out of I think it was a GMC converted van, not made by GMC, but I found it in a wrecking yard. I cut all the springs out of it. I've modified it. This is actually going to have a flip down for all the recovery gear, so that when I'm not using it, it'll be it's going to have some knobs that'll keep it closed. I don't like to hear rattles either, so everything will be nice and clean, and you won't have to see any of the ropes and all that stuff. Down here, we have some of our own product, sort of like what we had at the front, but this is a high lift jack clamp. It also has it's stainless. Those rubber clamps always break. They get sun dried. These damn things rattle all the time, so we made this super convenient, heavy duty jack handle keeper. It works on various jacks, farm jacks as they call them. So I fabbed the bracket up out of stainless and bolted that to the bumper, just painted it black to match. This is one of our very first shackled blocks.